Timor. Respect and good luck with your training, sir. Like there's this chick named Gina Carano, and let me tell you something, man. Try to snatch her keys or try to abduct her. I told my mom this one chick was getting ready to fight the other night. I said, and she was a beautiful little blonde, right? And 115. Yeah. But ripped, but you'd never know. I said, let a couple of thugs try to carjack her at the mall. Yeah. You know what she's gonna do? She's gonna let them go ahead and get in the car and wait until they're in a off the wall place and off the beaten path. Right. And she's gonna turn that ignition off, and she's gonna start laughing. Oh yeah. And then two dudes are fixing to get fucked up. Hell yeah. Because man, that girl jacked this other girl up. Like she was on her. She said she called her style the swarm style. Right, like she swarmed that chick like a pack of hornets, dude, the whole fight. And won.
Hey, I'm gonna pause. This is very unconventional of me to pause the Car and Zombie show for a moment, but it makes me think that military people especially have let me know, and being around them and having friends that were in the military and stuff like that. You have to be very careful at who you might be. Your hometown badass, the baddest dude in your hometown. You've never just not whipped the shit out of somebody. But whenever you come into certain circumstances and you get into the situation with a trained motherfucking straight up killer, a straight up trained fucking killer, and you tell him something like, hey, and this was brought up on another podcast on the Joe Rogan Experience, where he says, and this guy tells you in the bar that he's going to kill you, and you happen to be, special forces of some kind, or you basically go in there and snuff motherfuckers out without anybody even knowing or hearing about it. I mean, as far as the enemy goes. Now, that being said, that you have to be very careful. You know what I mean? Actually, I think two things here. The human body, in general, was not made to go into combat with one another, okay? We're going to talk about our differences, and if you want to do combat, then enter into a combat sport, mixed martial arts, something like that. Because, like I said earlier in the program, it does help with your mind, your body, and your spirit. But again, you crazy son of a bitches out there that think you want to abduct a young lady or try to rape a young lady, it just makes me think too now, with there being so many females in the military, that I would imagine they have some pretty badass training. So if you are a female in the military, send us an email at radiorobcast@gmail.com, radiorobcast@gmail.com, because I would like for you to show me some of your moves. All right, rock and roll, back to the show, and much respect to all of the military, past, present, and future.
And I can't think of her name. Paige. Her name was Paige.
Paige Van Sant.
We'll talk about MMA. I'll get you into some MMA. You have to watch a little bit of mixed martial arts to get into it.
I don't get into that for some reason. I don't watch it. What's it like?
But the thing is that once you follow some of the guys that you kind of have some like interests with, and you see all of the training that it takes, once you learn that some of them come from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, karate, kung fu, boxing, wrestling, and the very first Ultimate Fighting was just that. It was the Ultimate Fighter. It was like a boxer versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then versus a karate guy, versus a kung fu guy, versus all different. Actually, one of the very first USCs, a boxer came in with one glove and one open fist, and it was just crazy. He thought that's how he was going to win the fight. He got his ass beat, and then I guess the very best and one of the originators of the Ultimate Fighting was Royce Gracie, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu master that would go in his gi, and man, he could wrap around and grab his gi and choke you out with it and stuff. So they quit doing that. But yeah, but if you don't like it, you don't like it.
Right.
That ain't no big deal, but I have a feeling that once you watch it a little bit and get to know a little bit more about what's going on with it, and how technical it is, that you might get into it a little bit. If not, hey, we'll move on to bigger and better things like motocross, supercross, arena cross, outdoor cross, across the yard, right?
Man, I'll tell you you want to hear a story how I broke my wrist?
Yes, I was just fixing to say, tell me a wipeout story. I'll tell you a wipeout story.
Okay, man. This story starts kind of back like 2 weeks prior to this race. Okay, we were in Midland, Texas, racing at WTMX. Well, whenever it gets really windy out there, the track deteriorates.
Right.
You know, well, I saw these guys going through and riding the loops. Right. You know, these pro riders. Well, they were getting fucking squirrely. You know, and one of them looped out.
Right.
Well, it was my moto to come up.
Looping out means you spin all the way around, fellas.
Yeah, you know, that bike gets out from underneath you.
Motocrossers are probably pissed that I come in and say and explain technical terms.
Oh, no.
Shit, but
we
want everybody to understand
every
what we're talking
crash
about.
we have, we're proud of it. I don't know about anybody else, but if I loop the fuck out or I endo it and I get up and I walk away from it,
you're happy,
I
right?
fucking put my arms up and going, oh my God, because thank God I just got up. Well, but no, my mom, it was my race to come up, and I'm going, well, I kind of wussed out on the whoops, you know, because I didn't want to fall.
Right.
Well, after I get off the track, she tells me, she's like, you know, don't be a pussy, hit them. She's like, hit them.
That means go balls out.
Yeah,
all
you
out.
know.
And the whoops are the little bumps, the small bumps that are all in front of one another.
Yeah, you know,
like
12 foot wide, 4 foot deep, you know. These motherfuckers are huge. Well, we get out there in the arena cross that I come up on. The night before I was qualifying, and, dude, I was ripping through these whoops. I was hauling ass, doing great. Well, the pros like them to
just
be
skating across the top of it.
Yeah, the
Right on
pros,
the back.
they're gone, you know.
Yeah.
Well, fucking, they complain about how little they are. Well, the next day,
the whoops are huge.
Yeah, the next day I come out, and my mom is in the stands. And I told my mom how good I was riding, you know.
Right.
Like, Mom, I was like, last night I was doing
my
good.
race.
I was like, I'm going to win. I know I am. And she's like, all right. Well, my first practice comes out, right? I do pretty good through them, but they were fucking huge, and I didn't know about it, so they were like marbly as shit. Well, I come through that one, and then my second practice was right after because I was doing another class.
Right.
So I come in that practice, my mom was like, all right. She goes, you need to get a little bit, you know, you need to center your body a little bit more. She's like, get on the balls of your feet, and she's like, pin that shit in second gear. You need to get through it.
Right.
And I was like, all right. Well, I started wheeling through it in my second practice on accident, and I was going to try and lay it down at the last whoop so I could just kind of endo it into the corner, you know, and get that speed.
Right.
Well, it was a right-handed corner. Well, I laid it down too early, man, and I skipped the whoop with my front tire, and I fucking endoed it hard, and my wrist landed into the last whoop on the face of it. It didn't snap it, but it just fractured it.
Right.
It knocked me out. The bike come over the top of me. I just tumbled and flipped. My boot was caught on the fucking handlebars and shit, dude. It fucked me up. I was knocked out. They, you know, even woken up with
And this was, like, qualifying?
No, this is just the practice, the warm-up heats, you know?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
When you're out there with your fucking class, you know, intermediate,
you gotta get it. I mean, dude.
You gotta be hucking it every damn lap, or you're gonna get ran into.
As Ricky Bobby would say, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, you know. Well, I get up, and I've already spent $80 already to you know, race. I had 4 motos to do. My mom was like, all right, can you do it? I was like, oh yeah, I can do it. I'm like, where's the duct tape? She gives me 6 ibuprofen, and I duct tape my wrist, you know? And I go out there, I do all the motos, and on my last moto, they mixed our class with a 250 intermediate class, right on the 450, right? Well, I was in second place.
So we're 254 stroke novice class with, 450 novice class with, 250 intermediate class. Okay.
Yes. Well,
so you got some fast motherfuckers on 250s, which are lighter, and they're ripping, dude.
Yeah, they're peppy,
I like,
you know?
dude,
they're salty as shit.
Right. Okay,
They don't
so
give a fuck.
continue.
Well, the guy, obviously, that was in first place in the intermediate class was in front of me. You know, I was in third place if you look at it all together,
right.
you know, but I was in second place in my class.
Right.
Well, I was battling, and he gets ahead of me. I was like, all right, whatever. Well, he takes the last corner, he rolls the finish line jump, and I come up, and I'm ripping that corner because I'm battling for, you know, for second place,
right.
you know, and I get second, I come over the top, and here he is. He's rolling in the middle of the landing where I'm at.
Dude.
And the last thing I remember is seeing his fucking pretty little painting he has on the top of his head. Smacked out that.
Custom airbrush work. Fucked all up.
Hell yeah, it knocked me out. I landed on my back, or on my ribs into his motor and shit. Fucking my bike flipped over and the back tire landed in the middle of my back. Thank God I didn't break my back, but I fractured my wrist even more. It fucked it up. I had to go to the hospital that night.
Well, but poor little rich kid you landed.
And then my sister jumps over the stands because it was like an arena. So, you know, the railings were real tall, and she grabbed onto the railing, and it pulled her shoulder out of socket.
Dang,
so
double injury.
Yeah, so she had to go to the hospital too and get that shit popped back in. But, hell yeah, it was crazy. We got a big old picture after that. But what's your wipeout? I want to hear about one of yours.
Let's see, one wipeout. Street bike, dirt bike, four-wheeler, three-wheeler.
Damn.
Let's see.
Oh, I like three-wheeler wipeouts. Three-wheeler.
I don't have, you know what? We did all right on three-wheelers. You'll get tangled up in one quick. I had that one on a little. I had a little 60. I had a little Yamaha 60.
Right.
And we lived on like 15 acres of land. There was a creek that went between the front part of our land and the back part of our land. The same creek that I said I was hunting in the water moccasin.
Right.
Same creek, man, Bear Creek. I tried to. I have this one little jump, you know, and I would jump it. And I did well. And then my brother and I had a little moto track set up, you know, out there. But the creek, if you looked at it a certain way, I could jump over it, and I knew it, right? Mm-hmm. I could jump, and I could land kind of down on the other side of the creek, but, okay, here's the creek. I would jump, and I could land on the downhill side of the other side.
Right.
Well, on the uphill side of the creek, you know, like the lip, I hit the lip, I would kind of land here and then go up again. And I wanted to go all the way and land on the other side. So this bike has 4 gears. I pinned it. I hit it like in first and would land on this side of the creek. I'll hit it in second. I landed in the creek.
Yeah.
I had it on third, but I was landed every single time perfectly. Right. You know? So my balls got about 10 feet wide. And I pinned that little 60 wide open, dude, in fourth gear. And I cleared the creek. And I cleared it by a football field. No, I cleared it by, a couple feet. But, I guess they had cut some trees and stuff, and there was a stump sticking up about 10 or 12 inches.
Right.
Well, I cleared the jump, dude. I landed it perfectly. But as I was going, my left foot peg hit that stump. And, I was in full motion, just now landed, and then there's the stump.
Damn.
So it wrapped me up. I kept going with the bike. It flipped over, and it drug my right arm, and it drug the skin from about right here to right there, just, you know, road burn.
Fuck.
And, I left the bike there. I was 11 years old. I left the bike there. I went, back, 5 or 6 acres back to our house.
Yeah.
This was in the middle of the summertime, right? And my dad hadn't got home from work yet, so I put on the long sleeve shirt so my mom wouldn't see that my arm was off fucked up.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I probably, I have road rash on my hip. I was limping and